Oh, 346. All right. All right. All right. So
Just
you're
give
gonna
me five
start?
seconds. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? You are hanging out with Alexander Turbin and Joe Leonardo. This is Comic Books from Coast to Coast, and we're looking at one of the most important and really, when I talk to other artists and things like that, you just always hear this guy's name mentioned again and again and again. And we're talking about the wonderfully wild art of Walter Simonson. What's going on, Alex?
Hey, Joe. This is my favorite artist of all time. So I'm super excited to look at this. I just did a review of his Star Slammers. Have you ever read those?
I have not, but I was super tripping out on that review. You know what I mean? I was really liking that particular episode. And I was just kept asking myself, what is a Star Slammer?
Yeah. It's pretty good, but it's no Thor. It reinforces into me that even though like our favorite artists are our favorite artists, and we love all that stuff, a really good comic book artist should be on a really good comic book character.
See, that's what
And
I talk. I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
See, that's what I was thinking. I spoke of this before in prior shows where it's there is just there's an enormous amount of really great artists out there. And, they all deserve a certain amount of praise. That's including you and me. But for an artist to really get noticed, he has to have time on a book to where he makes that book something special. And it always has to be that combination of things. It can never just be oh, this artist did something and now everybody went crazy for it. It's because that will last. That's a flash thing. You know what I mean? It will last for a moment. But, I mean, without consistency, you'll get bowled over by somebody else who's doing, something meaningful or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's you have to have that combination of you have to have that time to work on something and make it special and make it your own thing, and that's really when we benefit the most is when, the artist spends enough time with them like John Byrne on the X-Men or Walter Simonson on Thor or
Frank Miller on Daredevil.
Daredevil, yeah, or Todd McFarlane on Spider-Man, where they have enough time to become intimate with the character and make it into what they want it to be. And then that's when we really benefit. And then that's when their art will really start to shine and really become powerful and become interesting. And it's that combination. So without that thing, and oftentimes it can elude people because not everybody's idea is good, as I mean, let's just be perfectly honest. As a person on Instagram, and there's a lot of people out there creating superheroes and stuff, and a lot of people trying to have original ideas and things, and a lot of people making beautiful, I mean, even Image Comics, even actual professional companies, you know what I mean, are making books that just, I look at them and I just question why, you know what I mean? This is not, who is this interesting to? You know what I mean?
Right.
Look at it and just wonder, this book looks great, but what are you doing in this? And what is supposed to be happening? And it's I have no interest in any of this, once in a blue moon. And I mean, dude, it is a blue freaking moon. I'll come across something that genuinely I'll sit back and go this is hot. I would buy this for sure or whatever. And there's there's one out right now. It's called Final Boss. Have you heard of Final Boss?
No.
It's I think it might be tied into the Tyler Kirkman family of stuff somewhere. But it's very cool, dude. I mean, the artist looks great, and I don't know I haven't read it. I've only seen it, them showing it online on their Instagram or whatever. But the idea is super fun to me, and I loved it. And it's sort of Double Dragon is a comic book or something. This guy's this kick-ass Street Fighter guy, and he's just fighting his way through this city of bad guys, you know what I mean, trying to get time to the top of some corrupt building where some giant gang boss is up there waiting for him. It's essentially the plot of freaking oh man, what's that fighting game? Freaking
Street Fighter?
Streets of Rage. Or no, not Street Fighter, but one of the walk around
Streets
and
of
beat 'em
Rage.
up games, like Streets of Rage or
Streets of Rage.
the Capcom one. Yeah, like one of those things. And as a
Yeah,
comic book, that's a super fun idea. You know what I mean? Like, because it's just fight. Because like the story, it's like '70s kung fu. Like those stories are told through fight scenes. You know what I mean? It's just like a good '70s kung fu movie is just one fight scene after another or whatever. You know what I mean? And that's where the
yeah.
story construct comes from. So he's just doing that in the comic book, and it's brilliant. And I thought it looked fantastic. And I was just like, if this was an Image comic in the '90s, this would be hot. This would blow up. You know what I mean? But so very rarely do I ever see anything anybody's doing and see that, and say that. So, I mean, a lot of people are coming up with stuff, but not everybody's ideas are good, and it's
Well,
hard to,
it's super hit or miss. I mean, I've recently come to the realization that I need to sit down and write down all of the characters I've created, and some of them, you're right, they're hit or miss. Not every characters are great, but you have to have the presence of mind to realize which ones are really great and which ones are maybe should set on the background or something,
well,
and until you get some idea of what you should do.
you're braver than I am, Alex, because a lot of your characters will be very original. You know what I mean? Like you come up with some very original ideas, and that's brave, but that's a harder thing to accomplish, and I
It
pretty
is.
much just make I make loose, recreations of things that already exist. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Right, right.
I'll look at something that I think is fantastic and be like, oh, I love Vampire Hunter D. So I'm going to make a Vampire Hunter D guy, which is like that sanguinary character with the top hat that I put
Yeah.
in the first issue of Funk, or it's like, like recently, I had gotten a comment online from somebody who was like, man, your characters are so amazing. He was like, out of all you guys, I usually don't like other people's characters, but there's something about the ones you create that are really cool. I was just like, thank you so much, I really appreciate
Yeah.
that. But in the
Yeah.
back of my head I was like, of course you think they're very cool. All my characters are just very slimly recreated versions of the best characters that are out there. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
there's nothing wrong with that either. And there's, like you've said before, there's no really new original ideas because so much has been done before. But I also think that when an artist works with an iconic character like Thor, I mean, Thor before Simonson was not that great. Not
no,
that
yeah, it
he
wasn't.
wasn't like an A-list character. He was,
Mm-mm.
D-list character maybe, but it takes somebody that really has a lot of passion, like Frank Miller did with Daredevil. You have to have that passion and that knowledge. Like Walt Simonson, he knows everything about Norse mythology, and you can clearly see that he loves it and he's got a passion for it and he knows all about it, and it shows clearly in the comics.
Yeah, well, he's still drawing a version of Thor right now. I mean, I'm sure you're aware of that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
he's doing his own version of it because he's so involved in that idea and he loves it so much that he's just branched off and chosen to recreate his own version of of Thor. And I believe Thor, in not so many ways, is probably a public domain thing or whatever. Like,
Yeah, it's a Norse mythological god. You
yeah, it's a
can't have,
mythological
nobody
thing. So
owns
yeah,
Thor.
you can't just copyright that. It's just, yeah, it's
Right.
mythology or whatever. So yeah, and it's really wonderful like we've said before, that's the thing that makes these characters magical, is their ability to be constantly be reinvented. And it's awesome, and we're the ones that benefit from it, dude. Because I mean, just like you said, his run on this book is it's groundbreaking. You know what I mean? Like in so many
Yeah.
ways, like there would not be a Thor movies without this run, because everything about the first Thor films was like out of here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The way
Yeah.
they look, the way the characters feel, the version of Thor that we got. The very like, I'm the over the top god, and then he has to learn humility, and it's humility that brings him his humanity, and it's his touch to humanity that makes him a real god. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like a full
Yeah.
circle thing. Like, and you wouldn't think you could take a character who is basically a god, who has godlike abilities. He's basically invulnerable beyond even like Superman or something, and make his story interesting and make him a vulnerable character. But like Walter Simonson does all that.
This is awesome because we're both looking at issue 351, and this is leading up to so it's Ragnarok. So I think it's either the next issue or the issue after that, where Searcher and Odin grow and battle with each other. But this is like it's almost like a coming of doom or like a Galactus coming of Galactus kind of
Yes,
story, where
yes,
the casket of Winters is opened up and Searcher is on his way, and it's like an end of the universe kind of story that. Thor is the main character who is kind of fighting back, and this has the Fantastic Four in it, and some Avengers and stuff like that. And like when I first saw this, I was just like, "There is so much going on here." Like
it's so
the pages
inspiring.
are, it's packed full. There isn't one little bit of non-energetic panels on this whole thing. Like
It's
it's and
so
it's in the rain, which makes it even more energetic.
That's what I mean. It's really groundbreaking stuff. Like that's so badass, right? I mean, look at that, man. That's just so fantastic, dude. And this one, that's the one I'm on right here. It's just like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
my god, dude. And the battle, taking place, everything looks so fantastic. The sword looks like right out of like freaking Conan the Barbarian, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
so gorgeous, dude. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. And then he does this, he just puts such a wonderful spin on everything. Like his version of the faces are like it's completely his own thing, you know what I mean? Like
It that's
like
that's the thing is he's so original. Like there is nobody that draws like Simonson. You can look
and
at any artist and they have their copycats, the people that emulate them and stuff. There's a lot of people that draw a little bit like Jim Lee. They change their style as they progress in artists. But there's nobody that draws like Simonson except for Simonson.
the thing is like you just you inevitably hear his name every time from everyone almost. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
Jim Lee will tell you Simonson. Mark Silvestri says Mark, will say straight up that Simonson is the main ingredient. His mix is Walt Simonson and Buscema, you know what I mean? And that's Mark Silvestri. And then even just talking to Jamie last week, he's like, I just threw it at him. What's your favorite artist? Boom, instantly coming back, Walter
Yeah,
Simonson. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
Simonson.
And
I
I
love
know with
that
you,
that
it's the
panel right
same
there.
thing. You're a
Yeah,
giant
yeah,
Walter Simonson mark. And like there, you just hear it again and again and again. And he is so unique, dude. Like, look at the lighting on this freaking Thor face right here.
yeah, yeah. That's just
Yeah, dude,
amazing.
and it's like, he achieves it quick, and he knows what he's doing. He knows how to grab that drama, and he's not spending so much time like
Look at it, like
agonizing
the
like a lot
energy,
of.
the energy right
Mhm.
here.
I
I
know,
wonder
dude.
how fast he draws and how fast he inks.
That's I don't know. I don't think he's fast, man. I don't think
How
dude.
can he?
Like
How can he not be?
I don't think anybody is fast, but I don't know, dude. I mean, I don't know. Is he inking all this stuff too?
Yeah, yeah. This is all his ink stuff. I'm betting he goes through and has basic outlines for stuff, but then the majority of the work is done in the inking, which is kind of like how I work.
Yeah, he's doing all the art. He's drawing it and writing the story and
Yeah,
freaking inking it.
yeah,
Damn, that's
yeah.
look. Here's the man. Look how he looks like Eric Estrada right here. JR. Yeah, dude. Ending with this massive shot of Odin or whatever. Freaking like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
these eyes,
yeah,
Sator's eyes right above it or whatever right here. Like, I mean, it's so fun. It's so beautiful. It has so much power. You know what I mean? It's just like, dude, those eyes, like what?
I
Or even
think.
that top shot where he's like guarding against the explosion of Odin's arrival
Yeah,
or whatever, the blinding light of Odin arriving,
yeah.
like
I
he's,
think this is the first time when I started reading comics, because I think I started reading in 85, 86, and this is from 86, and no, this is 85. I did not start reading comics, like I didn't get this on the newsstand. I got it in the back issue bin. Um, but this was the very first time because in the next issue, Odin fights Searcher, and then Odin dies, and that was the very first time like something I had experienced something like that in comic books where a major character dies or something big, really big happens.
I know, and it's handled spectacularly, and it's and it doesn't happen in the blink of an eye. You know, what I mean, there's
No.
books and books building up and giving story and giving character and just building the drama or whatever. All those shots that you got way back in the beginning of Surtur like building the sword, just every time
Yeah.
he'd hit the anvil, doom or whatever.
And
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
and that's in like the previous 10 to 15 issues that he'll
Mhm.
take like a page and it'll be, that same thing, that boom, 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 where he's
Yeah,
forging his sword or whatever. So
and
it's
dude,
it's
like
not something that happens overnight. He's building the story up over time.
that's like it's so funny because like I mean that is like when I that shot of the eye or whatever, like that's exactly what I'm trying to do. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I'm
yeah,
trying to like because we're bringing this enormous character into the story, in the next couple of issues or whatever. But you don't want to just have this like epic
right,
godlike thing just come scrolling up. You know what I mean? You got to like begin to build towards the idea of like what is about to take place and how like you're
right,
not
right.
ready for it or whatever. Like, and it's so cool. Like this one I'm looking at right here, which is a 346. And this is one of the ones I probably reread this thing 20 times when it came out,
Yeah, yeah.
and like I was obsessed. Like after I saw this, might even be the first one, like right here, Doom, just like all the freaking legions of hell unleashed or whatever. But this might be like one of the first ones where I realized where I saw Simonson's art and was like, whoa, like what is happening here? Like what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
And I remember, like at this time, Schwarzenegger is really huge. And I was just looking at these pages and just looking at his version of Thor, and just being like, oh, Schwarzenegger has to play this in a movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, I could totally see him being Thor, like in
I'm
some of
glad.
these
I'm glad he didn't. He couldn't
images
pull
with
it
the
off.
glasses and stuff and the blonde hair. You know what I mean? I was just so sure he would be perfect for this. Like, dude, come on, man. Schwarzenegger in his prime is Thor.
No, no, no. He's not a
No.
good enough actor. I mean, I like Schwarzenegger. Loved him in Conan, but he's not an actor. He's plays himself. He plays himself,
Yeah,
and I
all
think
movie
you
stars
really
do
need.
that.
Think you
But
really need an actor's actor.
I honestly, and this is really my opinion across the board in all film, is that actors only act as good as the director can get out of them. You know what I mean? Like, you'll get someone like say, that guy, like that dude who I can't think of his name right now, but it's the guy who played the Nazi in Inglorious Bastards, right? Everybody
Yeah,
loves his
yeah,
performance so much. It's so
yeah.
amazing. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. You know, it's not him as much as it is the character that was written and the director who is using that actor as a blob of paint. Because
Sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're right. Quentin Tarantino, he can pull greatness out of actors, but
yeah, it
and
just
Martin Scorsese can do the same thing.
yeah.
But there's also awesome actors that, like Robert De Niro. He's my favorite actor of all time. You look at him in Cape Fear, and he's almost completely unrecognizable to somebody in Goodfellas or anything else that he's ever done.
Yeah,
So
he is. He's wonderful. But I'm just saying, like I truly believe, like in most cases, like what I mean, like if you put the right person for the right role, and if you're the talented man doing it, that's
yeah.
how the real thing happens. You know what I mean? And that's why someone like like Jamie Foxx could be really good in one thing and be ridiculous in something else, or you know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
anybody,
definitely. Oh,
like
I 100%. I definitely think it's the director and the producers of the movies and the cinematographer.
yeah.
Now,
I
I
think of
follow
actors
directors.
like
I follow
paint.
directors. I don't follow actors as much.
Yeah, I'm more like that too. Yeah, I mean, I love Tom Cruise's career and I love his films, but I'm more way of a film, like a director guy or whatever. It's like man, dude, like did you watch Nosferatu?
Yeah, yeah,
That Robert
yeah.
Eggers
That
guy,
yeah, that's
he's
really good. And
insanely talented.
also the Fargo TV show is a lot like Tarantino, where he gets the peak performances out of all of the actors.
Well, Fargo is the Coen brothers, and they're insanely talented. So anything built on something they've thought up is going to be probably complex and really good.
Yeah, yeah.
The Coen brothers, they're
So that
amazing, dude. We just watched Oh Brother,
oh
Where Art
yeah.
Thou the other night, and it's such a good movie. Like I just watched The Big Lebowski the other day. It's such a good movie. You know what I mean?
I love the Big Lebowski. That's one of my favorites. Did you
Yeah,
know "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" is a retelling of the Odyssey?
yeah. His name is Homer. John
Right,
Goodman
right,
plays the
right.
Cyclops. Freaking.
Yeah, yeah. But it's weird because I have a story called Violent Thoughts and Violent Actions." About it's like a gangster thing, and it's a retelling of the Buddhist Wheel of Life, and it's but I don't know how much of I should say that that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Should I not tell people or should I tell people?
Right.
That's
It's
always
like there's the whole thing of being like, I want to tell a version of this, but do I want to come outright and say this is what I'm doing, or do I want to just let people think this is a story I wrote or whatever? You know what I
right,
mean? And
right,
hope they
right.
get the analogy that's there. You know what I mean? That they might not get at all, because not very many people are well read these days. Sadly, you know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah,
not too many people are paying attention to what I mean, like classic works or anything like that. So you could literally, you know, like say like the end of Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan, you know, there's probably not a lot of people that understand that he's referencing directly like Moby Dick there at the very end, that
right,
kind of thing. You
right,
know what I
right,
mean?
right.
Like,
That brings up a really good point that I'm going to try to get us to talk about. Like every episode, I want us to kind of focus on people reading comic books and not just looking at the pictures.
oh yeah, for sure. Because like,
I
you have to sit and read them to really get the full thing. I mean, of course you want the images to be beautiful, but if you don't take the time to sit and read it, you know what I mean, you're missing out because
Yeah,
they're amazing.
I am. I always thought everybody, when they picked up a comic book, they read it, they devoured it, they read it again, they looked at all the pictures, and then they read it again.
Yeah.
Every single word. I was always under the impression that that's what people did because that's what I do. So, like, if somebody reads like or picks up an awesome work and they don't actually read it, they just kind of skim through it or look at the pictures or whatever, they're not going to get the same experience that I get.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
I want to change that. Like the how the kayfabe guys would end their show is read more comics, right?
Yeah. Well, make more comics.
Make more comics or read more
Yeah,
comics?
those make more comics. But
I
they
think it
put a
should
lot of stuff.
also
They
be
would say read more because,
read
like, I
more
know
comics.
that when they did the library thing, because they'd call it Comic Books Christmas in July, and they would
Right.
go to the lender libraries, the little neighborhood
Yeah.
libraries where
Yep.
they have those in there, and he'd like stick comic books in there. You know what I mean? And they
Yeah.
would end those episodes with read more comics. They definitely did.
So I think, I'm going to say read more comics and keep on creating because I think the important thing that a lot of people are missing are the reading of the comics instead of the looking
Yeah,
at the comics.
I mean, people grow up and the maturity level, you know what I mean, maybe is not there for them, but there's always works out there, you know what I mean, that are going to speak to you regardless of your level of maturity, regardless of what your interests are. There's so much amazing work, even if it's manga from Japan or something, even if you're reading One Piece or Dragon Ball Z or if you're, I mean, there's seminal works in the comic book industry that could be revisited again and again and again. I reread The Dark Knight Returns probably once a year at least.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
The Titan comic versions of the Elric stories are among, I mean, not even among, I'll just sit right here and say it. They are the best freaking, like when I look at the versions of Elric that they made in the Titan comics, it's so ridiculously good. It's like I don't even. It's like I imagined them into being. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
they're too
right.
good. They're like what I've always like said. Because like Elric has been he's been like, they've been working on him as a comic book character for decades now. I believe it started in the early 80s with EC Comics getting the rights to it for the first time. And, you know, they did some wonderful stuff, and I love what they did. But like the way they approached it at Titan, man, it's almost like, I don't know, dude. It's almost like it's mythical, the level of like reality and detail they put into it. It looks more like, the art looks more like illustrative art for like Treasure Island from the 30s or something like that. You know what I mean? It's got that level of like Franklin Booth kind of like line work in it.
And
you know?
there's an infinite amount of comic books that are that quality for, I mean, you love the Elric because it speaks to you mostly. You know, but there's enough comics out there that anybody can find a fantastic comic out there. You just have to read them.
Yeah,
you can't
just like I was talking about with that first boss thing. There's like, no matter what your interest is, man, you're gonna find something amazing out there. And there's someone that's working on something that's probably super cool. And even if not, maybe they got close to the zone, and you'll read it and think, oh my gosh, they should have done this right here. You go off and do that one, man. You know what I mean? You go make that comic book, you know, with that variation in it. And like, we'll all freaking, you know, hear about how rad your stuff is one day. You know? Because like, so, that's what it's all about, you know, is just keeping people involved in the industry. And like this shot right here, dude, this is so gorgeous to me. And it's a shot of like a bunch of those hellhounds, and they're descending down to Earth. And it's literally like a reclamation shot, you know what I mean? Like, that's literally, you know what I mean? Like, and it's so like inspirational, because this stuff, it goes back so far. This is all the way back in the 80s, you know what I mean? And you just see this stuff, and you just like gush over it like a little kid at Christmas. You just like, man, you know, like, so much fun. Everything
remember the issue I was telling you about, that it's all splash pages? Did you say you do have this, or you don't?
I do have it somewhere. I do. I'm pretty sure I have it. Yes.
Yeah.
It's just,
this is right up your alley. It's like all splash pages, all double page spreads.
What number is that?
380. And I thought it was the final issue of Simonson's run, but I think he does a couple more after this, actually. But then, I mean, every page is bam, smash. You know, it's like every page is a humongous explosion. You know what I'm saying?
That here, man. That sucks. Oh, dude, that is insanely rad to me, dude. Like, that's just my bread and butter right there, man. You know what I mean? Like that. Like, I've literally, like, you know, thought this exact thing. Like I was just like, you know, I want to do an entire comic book of, you know, nothing but splashes. You know, dude, like, Alex, I've considered doing an entire comic of and I don't know if I've ever spoken this to you before. I was like, but like my thoughts on it was like I wanted to do an entire comic book of nothing but 3-page splashes, and I would have to put it all together here at my house. The way I would sell it is you would just have all the 3-page splashes like in a folder. You know what I mean? So essentially you'd buy a giant folder, and then, you know, you'd get like 18 or 19 3-page splashes that tell the story, you know, on nothing but 3-pagers or whatever. So you know what I mean?
This is awesome. The dragon bites down on Thor, and then Thor smashes all of its teeth out with his hammer.
Dude, and that is also like, that's classic. Like, that's literally like the mythology of like Ragnarok, you know what I mean? Like, that is the worm that eats the world or whatever, you know, like
this is supposed to be their final fight.
So badass. Can you imagine being the guy that gets to do this in Marvel Comics, dude?
I know. Because it ends with Thor flies towards the dragon, and then the dragon dies, and then he takes 9 steps backwards. No, it doesn't say there. It's supposed to be like he takes 7 steps backwards or 9 steps backwards or something like that, and then he dies. So this was supposed to be like the death of Thor, kind of.
Right. Dude. You know, the thing too is, like, it's just like you talked about, like, you know, dozens of people worked on Thor, you know what I mean? Dozens of people got the chance to write it, you know? but only Walter Simonson had the common sense to really go in and say, let's do Thor's story. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
not just be
yeah,
like, oh, let's just do Thor in the world of humans, trying to date a girl or whatever.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
fighting a
Well,
bad guy in the Marvels.
it takes a certain amount of love. And he was, I think, well, he was obviously super successful with it. Do you think John Byrne was successful on his Superman stuff?
Ugh, dude, don't ask me that.
Well, you could say no. You could say no, or you
um,
can say
you
yes. You
know,
can.
I like his vision
He
of
clearly loves
Superman.
Superman.
Yeah, yeah. Like I liked that he turned Lex Luthor into a bad business guy. He turned Lex Luthor into Donald Trump essentially.
Yeah,
And that's where he's been ever since. Um, and I like a lot. Like I don't like the way he made Kryptonians so like distant and not really like the Kryptonians in his world really viewed humanity as like a lesser thing or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
they
yeah,
really felt like they were sending Clark to the freaking wolves, kind of to just, to learn to run them kind of a little bit. So I could maybe see might even be like a hair of inspiration for what James Gunn did with the characters, based
yeah,
on the John Byrne stuff. But I did like a lot of things. Like I did like the idea that nothing Clark ever touched ever got dirty, or whenever he wore clothes next to him, they never got old. The threads never wear. You know what I mean? They don't
right,
get
right.
dirt on them. There's things like that he added to the mythology that I liked a lot. I guess I didn't. It's a grab bag for me. I didn't love it, but I also, there's nothing there to dislike either, really.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's obviously is a competent professional. I love John Byrne's art. He's not in my top 10, but he's obviously good. It's kind of like, Jim Lee. He might not be in my top 10, but he's obviously fantastic. So,
Yeah,
you kind of have
John
to,
Byrne is the first Jim Lee or whatever. There is no Jim Lee
yeah,
without John Byrne first. Same thing with
yeah.
Del Keown. Like Del Keown's early stuff looks exactly like John Byrne at first, like when
Oh,
he's
yeah,
drawing the Dragon Force, and that stuff. Everybody's got those John Byrne cheekbones, and you know what I mean.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that, a lot of people did
I have
that.
those John Byrne cheekbones probably
Yeah.
drawn.
I draw Waltz Portatio cheekbones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's funny too, dude, because like I had drawn this piece recently, and I was looking at the shadows on Superion's chin. And I was just thinking, like, man, you got to grow beyond that thing. Like, you got to stop doing that on every freaking face. Because I always
It's
overshadowed the bottoms.
Yeah, yeah, it's one of those things. Like I always, or very often, make a hawk nose on people, or hook nose, or whatever, where you have
Right.
that little bump on the nose, and it kind of, protrudes out a little bit. And I try to change it up, but you get those habits or things that you do, and you kind of have to do that doing a comic book, because if you try to do every panel, every figure, everything completely, totally original, you just can't do it without. You know, you have to have a lot of consistency in comic books as well. You
Yeah, yeah.
have to be able to, different. You have to be able to tell one character from another character without them being in a costume or something.
That's gonna be
Yeah.
something big too. Like, and I mean, especially for someone like me, because like, I'm definitely an artist that suffers from same face syndrome. You know what I mean? 'Cause like I've said before, I
Yeah.
don't have a lot of. If you don't give me, I mean, like obviously, if I'm drawing a story with Beta Ray Bill and Thor, you'll be able to tell who's
Right.
who.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Right.
when you got too many like handsome dudes all together, and if they're all like, you got three handsome guys in suits, if one isn't a
Yeah.
redhead and one isn't a brunette and one isn't a blonde, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. 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 It's like drawing Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent. Like, are
Yeah,
they clones?
yeah,
They
yeah.
look exactly like each
Yeah,
other.
they just have slightly different haircuts or whatever, freaking, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah. All
But
right,
yeah,
so this is Walter Simonson, and we are definitely going to be looking at him more often, because he's done other stuff other than Thor. He did Fantastic Four, and that um, what did I just, not Star Slayer? What the heck?
Starfighters. Star
Star
Slammers.
Slammers. Star Slammers. So he's done a whole bunch of other stuff other than
You
Thor.
know, and it's really
But
great on
Thor's his
everything.
best.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude! Like just everything. Do you remember the one where where the that God, I don't know, is it Sif? I think maybe, but I might be wrong. But she gets like monstrously obese or whatever, and she's like like gets to the point to where she can't even like hardly get out of bed, and then um she gets like punished for doing some sort of thing she did, and then they put her into the endless desert to wander for forever. But she wanders in the desert for so long that she becomes like hot and a demigod again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she
Yeah.
has to, yeah, she has to like wander in the desert for 1,000
Yeah.
years to like lose all the
Yeah.
weight she did from being like evil or whatever, being a glutton.
Yeah.
Like, dude, the stuff Walter Simonson came up with in these books is freaking magical, bro. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
dude, even the stories where you're dealing with like the Warriors 3 and stuff, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Baldar and all those things. Like, even those stories are fantastic and fun to read, and like you want to read them over and over again and revisit them again and again and again. Like his version of Loki was so amazing. Just like, would there even be Beta Ray Bill without Simonson?
Well, he created Beta Ray Bill,
That's
so
what I mean.
no.
Like, yeah, dude, you know what I mean? There wouldn't be, like,
Yeah.
dude, what he
Yeah.
did with Thor, I just can't speak highly of it enough. I know we like over at Comic Books from Coast to Coast, we're a couple of dudes that just like talk about everything while we're getting to this. And we may, veer off from time to time. But the thing is, man, is just this stuff is spectacular. And we're just here to just tell the world how much we love it. I mean, the level of action taking place in these things, just this shot right here of the goats and the freaking chariot coming in like a bolt of lightning. It's so inspirational.
Yeah.
Any comic
Yeah.
book creator can look at this stuff and just have to wow at the amazing things. And like when you see this stuff, like just looking at these shots, I see Silvestri over and over again. Like the more and more I look at like the Hellhounds, the more I see like the darkness monsters, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and like you see all those stuff like where you're like where their inspirations are coming from, where the ideas are all like where their origin points are at. But man, nobody's doing it like Simonson, and we just wanted to
Right.
stop and just say how amazing he is, how much we love him. And it doesn't seem to matter like what artist you talk to, everybody seems to have him on their radar as like one of their main influences. So how can we not take a few moments to just completely revere the incredibly amazing Walter Simonson? You ready to get out of here, bro? All right, Alex and
I am.
are comic book creators, and I'm the creator of Six Lords of Sound, soon to be available on our website, comicbookmarketplace.com.
No, Comics Creators Marketplace.
Comic Creators Marketplace. Comicscreatorsmarketplace.com.
Comicscreatorsmarketplace.com. It's on the back of here.
Comicscreatorsmarketplace.com. So if you're looking to get copies of the Six Lords of Sound, or if you're looking to get copies of Entropy Alliance #1, and let's face it, you definitely are, you're going to have to be going through comicscreatorsmarketplace.com in order to get your issues. And there you'll also be able to find some of the amazing works of Alexander Turbin, among them the Morgrim the Cyclops episodes, which are really fantastic. Random Access, which is full of amazing work from Alex, as well as tons of amazing work from a lot of our contemporary artists that we're friends with. And these guys are all doing fantastic stuff. And they're just churning out stuff to be in Random Access right now. I mean, you guys want to get the latest Random Access. Jamie Barrows is Cyberzerker. It's going to be fantastic, man. You guys want to get your hands on this stuff? The
right here.
latest issue is full color. It looks amazing. It's gorgeous. You guys, man, you're not going to get comics that look this great. What are you, $3?
$3. $3 through Patreon.
You're getting 20.
So far.
Yeah, you're getting 20 pages on that one, I believe.
Yeah. Yep. This is the first 20 pager, with the last 2 pages being a story written by me and drawn and colored in ink and everything by Nick Quirk.
Yeah.
And this is Yep. This is Morgrim, Savage Cyclops' little story, and there's a whole lot of awesome comic books going on in Random Access, and this will be on Comics Creators Marketplace. And anybody who has a comic book and they don't have a website, they don't have a way to sell their comic, get in touch with me. I'm gonna start doing a major push on the the website, because it is basically, it's for everybody. It's for everybody. If anybody has a website and they want to, have another avenue to sell their comics or whatever, but if you don't have a website, then you're really missing out. I lost my website for a little while, and it feels like you're out there on the cold, all by yourself in the snow, and you're just going to be forgotten in this whiteout of snow. But if you have a website, you have a home, you're with your contemporaries. So if you've got a comic book, please contact me and we'll put it on the website.
Absolutely, man. Dude, as soon as you have Six Lords of Sound up there, dude, you're going to start getting hits from it. Because I have like a half a dozen people on wait list right now that are trying to get a copy of. And I essentially was just waiting for, the website to get up and running so I could start directing everybody through there. Because that's cool. The idea, is to create seminal levels of work that have such good production art and value to them that people are going to want to get them again and again and again. And if you get one, you want to get the whole stories. So we want, these things to have ongoing stories so that people can be continually interested in coming back and then getting the back issues so the things continue to sell and sell and sell. And that's like really the way like I approach the work I create, is trying to create the type of things like, I think of stuff like the End Call, or I think of stuff like, Arzak, or I think of stuff like the Metabarons, where people are always going to want to buy these again and again and again all through history. You know what I mean? Each new generation is going to come up and discover this stuff and be like, oh, I want to get a copy of this. So I'd say idea is to try and create works where each thing is a standalone piece that, will connect with the larger universe, but each one has that level of quality to where when you get one, you definitely want to get more, And that's what we're doing here at comicbookcreatormarketplace.com. And you're going to see a lot of amazing artists and a lot of amazing creators. And you're going to start hearing that name every single time you come and tune into one of our shows, because that's going to become an integral part of comic books from coast to coast in the future.
Sounds good.
All right, you guys. We're coming to the end of the show. We want to thank everybody that hung out with us today. Please throw Alexander Turbin a thumbs up. If you'd like to leave us a comment over the show, we definitely appreciate hearing from you guys. It's always amazing to know what's going on in the minds of all of our fellow creators and all of our fellow contemporaries who love the works and the comic books of our youth and all the amazing creations that are happening in the near future. And we just want to thank you for hanging out with us. Once again, this is Comic Books from Coast to Coast. I'm Joe Leonardo, and I'm hanging out with my buddy
Alexander Turbin. Alexander Turbin.
And thanks a lot, guys. We appreciate you hanging out with us today. And we're going to leave you with these thoughts right now. Read more comics. And after you get done reading more comics, keep on creating.